High above a silent blue world, a sleek alien ship hovered in orbit. The ship belonged to the Craven Empire, one of the oldest powers in the galaxy. Its surface was dark like obsidian, covered in glowing red symbols that pulsed softly in the emptiness of space. Inside the ship, everything was quiet except for the soft hum of the engine and the gentle flicker of screens. Commander Vroth stood tall in the control room, arms behind his back, his eyes fixed on a large holodisplay showing Earth's surface. His face, thin and sharp like a blade, showed no emotion. But the tone of his voice was filled with confidence. "This is the one they fear," asked, raising an eyebrow next to him. Intelligence Officer Thrix let out a dry laugh. "Primitive. Just look at them. They burn fossil fuels, still use wheels, and can't even leave their planet properly. They haven't reached past their own moon," another officer added. "They only have one inhabited planet. Their weapons are limited. No shields, no space defenses. If we wanted to conquer them right now, we could do it in an hour." Vroth nodded slowly. Still, the Council ordered observation first. "Study the humans, test their response. No contact. No aggression." Thrix smirked. "They won't even know we're here." Below them, Earth rotated slowly. The ocean shimmered. Under sunlight, clouds drifted lazily over green forests and deserts. It was a peaceful planet, quiet world, and to the Craven it looked weak. But as they watched, strange things started to happen. The first sign was small, barely worth noticing. One of their observation drones, placed in low orbit to scan Earth's surface, suddenly went dark. No warning, no signal, just silence. It vanished from their system like it had never existed. "Maybe a glitch," said Thrix. "These drones were made by the Zarnok. Their technology is... old." Vroth frowned. "Replace it. Send 2 more. Observe carefully. No mistakes." The new drones were launched. They floated high above Earth, cloaked and invisible to human eyes. Their sensors recorded everything: traffic, communication, weather patterns, energy spikes, even movement in forests. For 2 days, everything seemed normal, but on the 3rd day, both new drones disappeared. No explosion, no radiation. Just gone. That was impossible. Earth didn't have the tech to even detect Craven cloaking, let alone destroy it. Vroth narrowed his eyes. "This is not a glitch." Thrix stared at the black screens. "How can they be doing this? There's no trace." The commander tapped. "A finger on the display? They're hiding something." Down on Earth, humans went about their lives. They drove cars, walked in cities, argued on their devices, and stared at the sky without knowing who was watching. But somewhere deep inside a mountain, under layers of concrete and steel, a secret room buzzed with life. Men and women in uniforms stood before large screens. One of the officers looked up at the display with cold eyes. Another alien drone. "Neutralized. That's the 3rd one." The woman beside him nodded. "They're watching us." "We watch back." A voice came from a hidden speaker. "Maintain silence. Let them think we're blind." Back on the Craven ship, Vroth paced. "Send a probe ship to the edge of their atmosphere. Passive scan only. Keep it hidden." The probe ship descended slowly, quiet as a shadow. It was small, fast, and cloaked. It drifted over Earth's northern pole, taking pictures and readings. As it passed over military bases and power plants, it recorded energy. Spikes far higher than what Earth should produce. Thrix leaned forward. "What is this? They shouldn't have fusion." "But this energy signature..." Vroth said nothing, just watched, suddenly. The screen blinked red. "Warning. Lock detected. Targeting system engaged." "No," Thrix whispered. "That's not possible." A beam of focused energy fired up from Earth's surface. It's not from a base. Not from a known weapon. It came from under a mountain, disguised as natural terrain. The beams sliced through the Craven probe like paper. Onboard alarms screamed. The crew froze. On the screen, the image of Earth shimmered in, then zoomed in. A human satellite was rotating slowly. On its side, in clear letters, Project SKYF. It wasn't transmitting anything. But somehow it had seen them. They fired. First, Vroth said softly. Thrix turned pale. That wasn't a random defense system. That was a message. The commander nodded. They want us to know they saw us. Back on Earth in the hidden facility, a man stood over a console. He wore no uniform, but everyone treated him with respect. He stared at a map of the Cravon ship in orbit. They're not leaving. Good. Someone nearby asked, should we launch another warning? He shook his head. No. Let them think. Let them fear. In orbit, the Cravon ship pulled back slightly. Vroth stood in silence, prepared the shadow. Team, I want a ground survey. I want to know what they're hiding. Send them to their forests. Observe human military movement. Get me answers. A Cravon stealth shuttle launched from the ship. It entered Earth's atmosphere like a falling leaf, unseen and undetected. It landed deep in a forest, far from cities. Inside it, 6 alien soldiers stepped out, fully armed. Eyes scanning. Their mission was simple. Observe, gather samples, remain invisible. They moved through the trees quietly. The forest was still. Birds chirped. Wind moved through the leaves, then one of the soldiers stopped. Did you hear that? The others paused. Silence, then movement. Just a rustle. Maybe. An animal. They pushed forward, but one by one they started disappearing. The team leader turned around. Where's Rith? He asked. Gone. Double quotes. JOR rack. Called again. Gone. Only 3 left. Then 2. Then a single camera remained active, mounted on the last soldier's helmet. It recorded shaking trees. Then a blur of figure rushing forward. Human, not with bullets or primitive weapons, but with alien tools, their own technology. The soldier screamed. The feed went dark. On the Cravon ship, the camera recording ended. All 6 soldiers lost. No explosion. No sound. No bodies. Just silence. Vroth stared at the empty screen. They're not primitive, he said at last. They were never primitive, Thrix whispered. We thought we were watching them. In the shadows of Earth, in hidden labs, deep tunnels, and forgotten bunkers, humans were not afraid. They were ready. Ready for war. Ready for the stars. Most have already to show the galaxy what happened when someone underestimated Earth. Vroth gave one. Final order? Call the fleet. Far beyond Earth, in the black of space. Craven ships turned their noses toward the little blue planet, but they didn't know. Earth was waiting. And Earth had already fired the first shot. The stars above Earth were calm, but something had changed. Inside, the Cravon command ship, silence filled the bridge. Commander Vroth stood with his arms crossed, watching the empty forest on a screen. The helmet feed from the last soldier had ended only hours ago, and now there was nothing. No signal. No survivors. Not even a body to recover. They didn't just kill them, Thrix said, voice low. They erased them. Vroth didn't speak. His thoughts were sharp, cold. The Craven Empire had faced many enemies across the star civilizations that screamed when they were conquered, rebels that fought with old weapons. But Earth had done something different. It had smiled, and then it had killed in silence. We underestimated them, Vroth said at last. No more. Prepare the retaliation. Team, I want a full scan of their military zones. We strike back quietly. Back on Earth, in a hidden underground facility beneath a mountain, the mood was different, calm. Focused at a man stood over a console, looking at a satellite feed. His name was Director Cole. He wore a black jacket and no insignia around him. Were screens showing global activity airports, naval bases, even alien movements in orbit. They'll respond, Cole said to the team. They'll send another probe, maybe a strike. Let them. A woman beside him, tall and serious, asked, What's the plan? Cole gave a small smile. They think this is the first time we fought back. They're wrong. We've been preparing since Roswell. In the dark of space, a second Craven ship arrived. This one wasn't for observation. It was a recon cruiser, fast and strong, carrying a full squad of elite troops. The crew called themselves the Talon Division. Their mission: test human defenses and extract survivors if possible. The ship entered Earth orbit, cloaked, hidden, just like before. But this time, Earth was ready. In low Earth orbit, a human satellite turned its eye to the sky. It didn't fire. It just tracked. Then, silently, a shape moved behind the Craven ship. It was not large. It was not heavily armed. But it was fast. Very fast. A black human drone, shaped like a stingray, curved through the darkness. It had no engine signature. It moved like a shadow. And before the Craven even knew it was there, the drone slammed into the ship's hull. Small explosion. A crack in the armor inside. Alarm screamed. Craven soldiers rushed to stations. Fire burst along the corridors. Roth's voice came through the coms. "What happened?" The Talon commander growled. "Something hit us. Small. Too fast to lock. We're losing atmosphere." Falling, the ship tilted. Flames licked through the controls. Someone the way forward is into someone else's into through the front screen, they were crashing. In the mountains of Eastern Europe, a streak of fire lit the night sky. Locals thought it was a meteor. But deep inside a military base, red lights flashed. "Unidentified object entering atmosphere," said the officer at the radar station. Cole was watching from a distant command room. "They're here," he said. "Quietly. Time to say hello." The Craven ship slammed into the side of a forested hill, sliding down in smoke and flame. Trees exploded. Earth shook. The wreck was hidden in thick woods, but it didn't go unnoticed. The Talon soldiers survived. Most of them, bloodied, angry, and armed, they crawled out of the wreckage, scanning the sky. Their coms were broken. Their cloaks were damaged. "Get to cover," barked the squad leader. "We'll find a secure place and signal for pickup." They moved fast, using invisibility packs and terrain knowledge. But something was watching. Them, something already waiting. One of the Craven soldiers, young and nervous, felt it first. "Do you hear that?" he asked. The others stopped. The forest was too quiet. No birds, no wind, just silence. Then a whisper, not words, just breath. Something cold passed behind him. He turned. There was nothing. The Talon team moved deeper into the trees. But they never made it far. One by one, they began to vanish. No gunshots, no screams, just sudden blackouts on their tracking devices. The squad leader finally shouted, weapons ready. "We are being hunted." But there was nothing to shoot. In the darkness, a Craven soldier spun around, only to see a human standing behind a tree. The human wasn't wearing armor. He wasn't even holding a gun. He was holding something stranger, an alien rifle. Krav, undashmade dot. "How? Before?" The soldier could ask. The human disappeared into shadow. The soldier chased him. He never came back. Elsewhere, the humans moved silently. They weren't army. They weren't government. They were something else. Something older. In a hidden base not far from the crash site. Director Cole watched the live feed from tiny aerial drones. "To left," he said. The woman beside him asked, "Capture." "Not this time," he said. "Let them go." The last two Craven soldiers stumbled through the forest, bleeding, lost. One of them fell to his knees. "It's a death world," he whispered. The squad leader nodded. "And the monsters are human." They activated their emergency beacon, hoping someone in orbit would hear. VRO did. On the command ship, the signal came through. 2 survivors, total squad loss, 10. Thrix stared at the screen, horrified. "They killed our elite team. With no army, no ships, just ... shadows." Vroth said, "Prepare the full fleet." Thrix hesitated. "You think that's wise? If they already have our weapons, they've already fought this war before." "They're alone," Vroth replied coldly. "One planet, one species. We are the Empire." But far below, on Earth, Cole leaned back in his chair, watching the stars. "They'll come," he said. They always do. He opened a secure file. Inside were plans. Not defense. Not retreat. The stars above Earth looked calm. But inside the Craven flagship, tension had become sharp and heavy. Commander Vroth stood at the main display, his eyes scanning the latest reports. 10 elite soldiers gone, 2 barely escaped with injuries and terror in their voices. One of them, still shaking, had said only this: "They know who we are. They used our weapons. We never saw them coming." Thrix, the intelligence officer, walked slowly into the command room with a new report in his hands. He looked pale. For a Craven, that meant fear. "Commander," he said, "we found something."
Roth
Turned, explain. "Intercepted a strange human signal," Thrix said. "Not radio, not microwave. It was buried deep under civilian channels, encrypted, layered, masked with static. Took us 6 hours to decode. What did it say?" Thrix pressed a button. A human voice began to speak in. "Perfect, Cravon. You're not the first to come here," the voice said. "Calm, confident, and you won't be the last. But we are not the ones in danger." There was silence. Then the voice added, "We already know how this ends." Vroth's jaw tightened. "How do they speak our language so well?" "That's not all," Thrix replied. "We found records, not from now, from decades ago." He pulled up old footage, blurry black and white images of a crashed alien ship being pulled into a desert bunker, human scientists walking around it. Inside, Cravon markings. "They've had one of our ships since the year 1947, Thrix said. Vroth stared. That's impossible. We didn't even visit this region of the galaxy until 50 years ago." "Someone else did," Thrix replied. "They crashed. Humans found it, studied it, learned." Another screen lit up this time. It showed human blueprints. Designs for fusion power, plasma weapons, and even warp drive components. "These were made 10 years ago," Thrix said. "They've been reverse engineering alien tech for over half a century." Vroth turned to his crew. "And yet we thought they were primitive." Back on Earth, Director Cole walked into a steel room with no windows. A large table sat in the middle, surrounded by screens. Several people waited, men and women in plain clothes, military uniforms, and lab coats. "We intercepted Cravon scans over Site Omega," said one of the agents. Cole nodded. "Let them look. They're too late." One of the scientists smiled. "Do they know we cracked their core language 30 years ago?" "Oh," Cole said. "Let's keep it that way." A screen on the wall showed a Craven cruiser slowly orbiting. "Earth. They're afraid," Cole said. "Now it's our turn to send a message." The group around the table all nodded. Somewhere deep in a hidden facility, an old machine came online. Its name was Gateway 1. It was the first communication system designed to intercept and decode alien transmissions across hundreds of light years. Its current function: monitor Cravon fleet movements across the galaxy, and what it found shocked everyone. Human satellites had already mapped over 60 Craven colonies. They had military layouts, supply routes, names of fleet captains, even secret locations of command ships. Cole stared at the data. "How long has this been sitting in our vaults?" "Years," replied a voice. "We were waiting for a reason to use it." "Well," Cole said quietly, "now we have one." On the Cravon flagship, a new alarm rang. "Commander," a crew member shouted, "we are being scanned." Not just. Herein, multiple systems. Remote scans, precise, tactical. Thrix's eyes widened. "They're reading us like a book," another officer added. "They're hitting our comm relays, our databanks, our fleet patterns. They know everything." Vroth shouted, "Shut down all external feeds. Wipe secondary channels." But it was too late. Across the galaxy, Craven stations flickered. Screens blinked with the same message. "We know you." In the control room, panic spread. "They're not sending a message," Thrix said. "They're making a statement." Roth slammed his fist onto the table. Should have invaded when we had the chance. But something even stranger happened next. On a civilian channel 1, the Craven rarely used a short human video was uploaded. It showed a montage. Soldiers in spacesuits, scientists working with alien cores. Underground ships being built. At the end, one sentence appeared. You're not the only ones with secrets. On Earth, the video never aired. It wasn't meant for humans, it was for the galaxy. Back in the HFY War Council chamber, High Marshal de Crone received the transmission. He watched it 3 times. Who leaked this? He asked. No one knows, said the tech. They're showing us what they want us to see, de Crone muttered. Just enough to scare us. But is it true? Truth doesn't matter, he said. Fear does. Inside were 5 ships. Black, angular. Silent Project Dark Sky. Each ship had alien techro covered, rebuilt, repurposed. Each one carried stealth systems that could move through enemy space undetected. Now, for the first time, Earth was ready to use them? Cole looked at the engineer beside him. How fast can they launch? 72 hours, she said. Cole gave a nod. Prepare them. We're not just defending anymore. Back on the Kraven ship, Vroth stared at a final report. Something new had appeared on Earth's surface. A city-sized facility had risen from nowhere. Not military, not public, but built with materials unknown to any Kraven scanner. A base that shouldn't exist. How did they do this? Thrix whispered. VRO had no answer. But he was beginning to realize something terrible. This wasn't Earth's first war with aliens. It was just the first time the galaxy noticed. But attacked Earth had waited long enough. A cold wind moved across the frozen surface of Antarctica. Snow fell softly. The icy silence was broken only by the deep hum of machines working far below, under 2 kilometers of ancient ice. Deep in the bedrock lay something not even most humans knew existed. The Kraven Empire had finally detected it. In the orbiting command ship, Commander Vroth pointed to a strange energy, reading pulsing from the South Pole. There's a power source down there. Old alien. Thrix stood beside him. It doesn't match their tech. It's not human, but it's active. Vroth frowned. Then it's ours. We send a recovery team now. A Kraven shuttle launched silently from orbit, cloaked and fast. It pierced Earth's atmosphere without a sound, disappearing into the southern clouds. Inside the ship were 12 soldiers, scanners, and a cold command. Investigate, recover, and don't be seen. Hours later, they landed on the ice sheet. The wind howled. Temperatures dropped fast, but the team wasted no time. They drilled through the snow and began melting a tunnel into the ice. As they descended, the scanners buzzed louder. Something massive was buried deep below. It's not natural, said the squad leader. This thing's been here for decades, maybe longer. For hours, they reached a wall. Smooth metal. Alien alloy, but not Kraven. A door appeared as they cleared the ice. Strange symbols were carved into it. Some Kraven, some... What is this place? Someone whispered. They forced the door open. It creaked, releasing a burst of warm air and light. Inside, a hangar, frozen in time, large, silent, and in the center of it a ship. It wasn't like Kraven ships. It wasn't like anything. Black, angular, covered in panels and armor. It looked like it had grown out of the darkness itself, but it wasn't dead. Its core glowed with faint blue light. This ship is alive, said the Kraven tech. It's waiting. The squad entered the hangar, spreading out. Cameras recorded everything. They sent the footage to orbit. Vroth stared at the video feed. Is that a command ship? Thrix shook his head. No, it's something else. Something new. One soldier reached the side of the ship and touched a control panel. It lit up. Symbols changed. The ground shook. A voice echoed through the chamber. Human. Authorization detected. The Kraven froze. The voice continued. Welcome, Earth Defense Command. Back in orbit, Vroth jumped to his feet. Get them out of there now! But it was too late. The ice cracked. Steam burst upward. Huge pistons unlocked. The ship began to rise, slowly, silently. The ancient hangar broke open from underneath. Snow and stone scattered into the sky. The black ship emerged like a beast waking from deep sleep in the sky above. Satellites turned. One of them, long dormant, activated on Earth. In the hidden base in Alaska, Director Cole watched a red light begin blinking. He smiled. It's awake. The room went silent. Screens lit up. All systems responding, said one engineer. Weapons online, shields holding, AI active. Cole nodded. Launch it. Inside the command room of the ice ship, the AI voice spoke again. Target, Craven ship in orbit. Authorization, level Omega. Preparing weapons. On the Craven flagship, alarms exploded. Broth shouted. What's happening? A new dot appeared on their radar. From Antarctica, something was rising fast, too fast. The scanners failed to track it. 1 second, it was over the South Pole. The next it was in low orbit. Heading straight for them. The Craven ship tried to escape. Too late, a blue beam struck their shields. Not a laser, not plasma. Something WORSEA pulse wave. Every control panel on the Craven ship went dark. Lights died. Gravity flickered. Thrix screamed. We've lost navigation. Another blast rocked the hull. Systems burned. The Craven flagship spun helplessly, and then a message came through on every screen, in every language. You thought we were asleep? A pause. You were wrong. The black ship hovered in silence. Then it turned, vanished in a burst of folded space. Back in Alaska, Cole stood watching the feed. Where's it going? Someone asked. Cole smiled. It's going to watch them now. Far above Earth, the Craven flagship finally recovered power. Vroth gasped for air. The bridge was filled with smoke. What was that? He asked. Thrix sat on the floor, shaking. That wasn't their first ship, he said. It was their first warning. Vroth looked at the Earth through the cracked viewport. They were never primitive, he whispered. They were just waiting for us to make the first mistake. The Craven fleet arrived above Earth like a dark cloud, casting shadows across. The stars, 6 warships, heavy-class destroyers, fully armed. Their mission: crush any resistance and remind the galaxy that the Craven Empire was still supreme. On the flagship bridge, Commander Vroth stood silently, eyes locked on Earth's surface. No. More games, he said. No more observation. We destroy their defenses and demand surrender. Beside him, Thrix still looked shaken from the last encounter. What if they don't surrender? Vroth didn't answer. Instead, he raised his hand. All ships prepare strike formations. Target major military zones. Begin countdown. Deep space. 6 Craven ships moved like steel sharks, drifting into attack position. Their energy cannons charged. The countdown began. On Earth, the warning came within seconds. In a black control room buried under Colorado, Director Cole watched alerts pop up on every screen. They're here, someone said. Cole didn't panic. Instead, he turned to his team. Are the ships ready? Yes, sir. All 6. Stealth protocols active. They're waiting for launch. Cole gave a single nod. Then let's show them what Earth has been hiding. Across 6 continents, giant underground bunkers opened. Steel doors lifted. Platforms rose into view. From each location, a single ship ascended, black, silent, and strange. These were not old human war machines. These were hybrids. Alien and human technology fused together. Codenamed Spectres. Each ship carried gravity. Weapons, pulse cannons, shield-bending emitters, and cloaking drives no alien had ever seen. They weren't the biggest ships in the sky, but they were the most dangerous, above Earth. The Craven fleet detected movement. New contacts shouted. A Craven officer. 6 ships rising from the surface. Small, unknown class. Destroy them, Vroth ordered. The Craven ships fired first. Long streams of plasma lanced through the sky, but the human ships didn't get hit. They vanished, cloaked, then reappeared. Behind the Craven formation, and they opened fire. 2 Craven destroyers were hit in the engines. One spun out of control. The other began to break apart. On the flagship, alarms screamed. How are they this fast? Cried Thrix. They're reading our movements before we make them. Vroth growled. They studied us for years. They know our tactics. Another. Cravon's ship exploded as a human vessel drilled a hole straight through its reactor. On Earth, the people watched in silence as streaks of fire danced across the sky. It was the first time they had ever seen their ships fight an alien fleet. Director Cole stood in front of a screen. "We told them not to come," he said quietly. "Now they learn." The battle grew worse for the Cravon. Their weapons were too slow, their shields too weak. The human ships moved like phantoms, appearing, firing, vanishing. Then something strange happened. A human ship stopped moving. It floated in front of the HRM flagship. Unarmed, silent. VRO saw it and smiled. A surrender? He aimed all weapons, but before he could fire, a message came through. It wasn't words, it was laughter. Human laughter. Then the floating ship exploded, not from damage, but by its own command. But it wasn't a suicide. The explosion sent a ripple through space. Disruption wave. All Craven ships nearby lost their shields. Their weapons shut down. Their engines dimmed. They were blind. Helpless. And then the 5 remaining human ships moved in for the kill. One by one, Craven ships were disabled. Not destroyed, disabled. The final Craven ship tried to escape, but a human voice echoed on there. "Comes leaving already?" The ship froze. They had been locked in place, gravity frozen by a field no Craven had ever seen. Back on Earth, Cole crossed his arms. "Now they know what we can do." Roth sat on the floor of the flagship bridge, breathing hard. His fleet was gone, his weapons useless. He looked out at the silent, human ships now circling them. Then a message appeared on every screen. "You fired first." "Now we're awake." The human ships vanished, gone in seconds. They didn't even need to finish the fight because they had already won. Far across the galaxy, news of the failed Cravon attack on Earth spread like wildfire. 6 powerful ships, destroyed or disabled by a species the galaxy once considered primitive, in secret meeting rooms. Alien leaders watched the footage. Blurry images. Human ships moving faster than scanners could follow. Craven vessels exploding in silence. One word whispered in every chamber: humans. For centuries, Earth had been ignored. Labeled weak, unimportant. Now, no one could ignore them. In the Craven High Command Center, deep inside a fortress world, High Marshal de Crone sat at a long table with 12 warlords. "Explain to me," de Crone said coldly, "how 6 human ships destroyed our fleet." No one answered. He slammed his fist. He had no empire, no colonies, no allies. "And yet we lost." A scientist spoke slowly. It wasn't just their ships. It was their minds, their strategy. They knew what we would do before we did it. Are they getting help? "No," the scientist said. "They were the help." "For someone else?" Before de Crone frowned. "What do you mean?" "It's a theory," the scientist continued. "Some believe Earth was never alone. That long ago, before we reached them, someone else did. And Earth won." De Crone stood in silence. "They beat us," he whispered. "With one planet." Back on Earth, Director Cole sat alone in a glass room high above a hidden base. Engineers worked on repairing the ships that had returned from battle. None were destroyed. All pilots survived. He took a sip of coffee, calm as ever. A general entered. "They want peace talks." Cole didn't look surprised. "Craven?" "No," the general replied. 3 other species. They're scared." Cole stood and walked to a digital board. It showed a star map. "Good. Let them stay scared." The general cleared his throat. "Cravan is sending a diplomat too, unarmed. They say they want no more conflict." Cole looked at the map. "Send a message back." "What message?" He turned slowly. "Tell them, send a civilian, not military. And we'll do the same." A week later, a small Craven shuttle entered Earth's atmosphere. It landed in an open field in Iceland, neutral, quiet, cold. From it stepped one being. Advisor Veltor, a historian and civilian analyst. No weapons, no armor. He was greeted not by human soldiers, but by a schoolteacher named Jenna Lake. She smiled. "Welcome to Earth." Veltor blinked. "You are not military?" "No," she said. "We thought we'd match your gesture." He looked around. "But why?" "Because if this war continues," she said softly, "we both lose." She handed him a tablet. "Everything you need to know is in there. Locations, data, our history with your kind, even the names of the ships we've hidden." Veltor looked shocked. "Why share all this?" "Because we've been preparing for invasion for 70 years, Jenna said. "We know everything about your empire." He hesitated. "And what do you want?" She smiled again. "Just space to live, and a promise." Veltor nodded slowly. "And if we break that promise?" Jenna's eyes turned serious. "Then we don't send soldiers next time." Across the galaxy, the Craven Council reviewed the data. One line stood out among everything else. Earth does not conquer. Earth survives. That's worse. In dark corners of the universe, new powers began to watch Earth with fear. Not because of their weapons, but because of their choice. Humans had shown the galaxy they could win, but chose not to destroy. That kind of power was terrifying. In a closed room back on Earth, Cole listened to the final report. The Craven fleet is retreating. Other empires have shut down spy probes. It's quiet now. He nodded. And the public? They still think it was just meteors. Cole looked out the window. Good. Let them sleep. But what do we do now? The agent asked. Cole smiled, quiet and calm. We wait. Because Earth knew something the galaxy didn't. This wasn't the end of a war. It was the start of something bigger. And next time, the humans wouldn't wait to be attacked. A single human message traveled through deep space. It was encoded, buried in static, drifting beyond the reach of known star systems. It wasn't meant for allies. It wasn't even meant for the Cravel. It was meant for everyone else. The message contained no threats, no direct warnings, only footage. Clips of human ships disabling Craven destroyers, recordings of cloaked technology, silent strikes, alien soldiers, running in fear, and one sentence at the end. We didn't start the war, but we won't be surprised again. It's on a distant planet in the Yakarn Empire. An ancient species watched the message play across their sky towers. High Speaker Venari turned to her council. They claim peace, she said, but they broadcast victory. One of her advisors whispered, that is not a broadcast. That is a trap. They want others to come. They want to test us. Across the galaxy, dozens of alien governments held emergency meetings. Earth had no colonies, no fleets in other systems, no history of conquest, and yet they had destroyed a Craven task force. They had technology no one had ever seen, and worst of all, they had remained silent about it for decades. In the dark zone between empires, a small pirate faction known as the Vrex Coalition intercepted the same message. Their leader, a Skardix mercenary named Dare Volume, leaned forward. Earth, he growled. No one ever paid attention to that dirt ball. Now they're taking down Craven warships like it's nothing. Another pirate grinned. Let's raid them. If they've got alien tech, imagine the value. Dare Volume spat. If you want your ship turned inside, I'm not stupid. But not everyone stayed away. A week later, a scout ship from the Xyrith Union slipped into the edge of Earth's system, cloaked, curious. They didn't send a message, didn't ask permission. They simply watched from behind Saturn's rings. They scanned Earth's orbit, satellites, civilian stations. A few old human ships. Nothing seemed dangerous, until something appeared next to them. A black human ship. No warning, no engine trail. Just ... there. Its weapons were not armed. It didn't fire. It simply sent one file. Inside that file was a list. Every Xyrith ship ever sent into human territory. Every location. Every stealth attempt. Every secret scan. The Xyrith crew panicked. We're exposed, one of them said. How did they see us? The human ship sent one final message. Leave. This is your only free warning. And then the human ship vanished again without a trace. Back on Earth, Director Cole was not surprised. "They're getting bolder," said the agent beside him. "They keep testing our border." "They should," Cole replied. "It'll save them from making Kravan's mistake." In a lab deep beneath the Arctic ice, engineers studied a new prototype of ship capable of instant relocation through folded space. Human-built, alien-enhanced. A technician whispered, "This isn't defense anymore." "No," Cole agreed. "This is preparation." One floor above, a group of quiet operatives gathered around a screen. Each of them came from a different Earth country. All of them had trained in silence. The project was called Sentinel Protocol. Their purpose: not to protect Earth, but to protect what Earth was hiding. And now, it was time to expand. Cole activated a global signal. No one saw it. No one heard it. But the message reached 6 deep space probes, floating silently near distant stars. The probes woke, and they began moving not toward Earth but away into the galaxy, carrying messages, maps, warnings, and something else. A list of targets, because Earth was done waiting, done hiding, and done being underestimated. A cold silence swept through the galaxy. The Kraven Empire was retreating. Their fleets had gone dark. Their outposts no longer scanned Earth's sector, but something deeper had changed. Fear, not just of war, but of the unknown, of what Earth had become, and what it was hiding on the human side. Director Cole stood in the underground war room beneath the Colorado mountains. The lights were dimmed. Every screen showed a map of the Milky Way. Red dots blinked across its alien fleets. Known threats, high-risk worlds. But more important were the blue dots. They were human, or at least, now they were. Cole tapped the glass display. "These are ours now," he said. "Not conquered, not stolen, chosen." An advisor beside him frowned. "We only had Earth. Now we have 12 hidden outposts. 4 of them in enemy space." Cole turned. "'Cause we don't need armies to take territory. We just need to show up." He stepped to the center console and activated a new file. It was called Signal 01, the last message. "Is it ready?" he asked. "Yes, sir," the technician replied. "It'll reach all corners of the galaxy in under 48 hours. Play it." A screen lit up. A human soldier stood in the dark, face half-shadowed, no weapon in hand. Behind him, Earth rotated peacefully in the background. He began speaking. "This isn't a threat. It's not a warning. This is a fact." He paused. "You called us primitive. We watched in silence. You sent spies. We followed them home. You sent warships. We tore them apart." The camera zoomed closer. "We didn't ask for this war. We didn't even ask to be part of your galaxy." He looked down, then back up. "But now that we are, we're not going anywhere." The screen went black in the Galactic Council chamber. Dozens of species sat frozen, watching the final line of the message. "Earth is not a target. It's a mirror. You see what you fear in us, 'cause one day it might be you." Back in Kravan territory, the council had fallen silent. High Marshal de Crone sat alone. No guards, no generals. He watched the video again and again there. "Not warriors," he whispered. "They're survivors. That's worse." Elsewhere, the Zyrith Union shut down its spy division. The Wykarn Empire rerouted its scout fleets away from human space. The pirate coalition dissolved in fear, and on Earth, no one knew. Humans went to school, watched shows, worked in offices. They lived simple lives. Because only a few people like Cole knew the truth. Humanity had already joined the Galactic War, and quietly, they'd become the most dangerous species in the stars. But Earth wasn't done. Inside a secret installation in orbit called Sentinel Station 1, the next phase had begun. A scientist stood in front of a long glass window, looking at a strange object floating inside a chamber. It pulsed with faint red light. "It's awake," she whispered. Cole stepped beside her. "How soon can it travel?" "Soon, very soon. But it doesn't want to go alone." "Good," Cole replied. Neither do we. In a large hangar, dozens of ships were being built. Not for defense, not for retreat, but for arrival. Arrival into the galaxy, not as visitors, as equals. The human AI systems, fused with alien technology, had evolved. One AI called Valoriginally, designed just to scan alien transmissions, now controlled planetary-level firewalls. It could predict fleet movements, translate languages instantly, and deactivate enemy ships in seconds. And it had a personality now. Vale appeared as a hologram beside Cole. "Director," it said, voice calm. "They're watching us again." "Let them," Cole said. "Let them see everything. What if they come in peace?" Cole turned slightly. "Then we meet them as friends." "And if they don't?" Cole smiled. "Then they meet the other side of Earth." Val tilted its head. Understood. The outer edge of the solar system, human drones were planting something new: relay stations. Each one could send a message instantly across vast space. Each one could deploy weapons without ships, and one by one, they lit up like stars in alien space. Strange whispers began. Ships that disappeared without a trace. Satellites that turned toward Earth, ... and melted entire planets that cut communication after spotting a single black shadow in their skies. They called it the ghost of Earth. But it wasn't a ghost. It was a choice, a promise. Back on Earth, Director Cole sat alone at a small desk in a quiet room. He wrote something by hand, a letter. Not for a government, not for the galaxy, for the next human leader. It read, "If you're reading this, it means Earth is still here. That means we did our job. The galaxy fears us now, not because we're evil, but because we didn't break. We survived their worst. We became something they can't understand. Keep them guessing. Keep us alive. And remember, we didn't fire the first shot. We will fire the last." He folded the letter, placed it in a steel case, locked it away, and walked out into the bright daylight, where birds chirped and children played, where Earth looked like a quiet, peaceful world. But now, every star in the sky knew better, and none would ever call humanity primitive again.